Hello, everybody. Are you feeling in awe of life? That's what I'm going to be talking about today is feeling in awe of life. Yesterday morning when we woke up and we saw we were covered with snow, everywhere was snow, I thought, wow, now that's awesome. And then when I recognized that the February 1st is the start of Lunar New Year, awesome. And when I recognized that February the 2nd is Groundhog's Day, awesome. And then when I recognized that this is Black History Month and that a guy by the name of Carter Woodson received a PhD from Harvard as as a son of enslaved people, I think to myself, awesome. Life is awesome. And it begins with you being awesome. You might say, what? Me? Moi? Being awesome? Yes, you are awesome. Do you know why? Well, Dr. Maxine told us earlier. Because you are the individualization of God's love, God's life, right where you are. Now, what does that mean? You mean that I am God? Well, let's define that a little more. A lot of people get caught up in thinking they are what they think they are. Huh? Does that make sense? Or a lot of people get caught up in thinking they are what they feel they are. You know, they get real passionate and figure, oh, this is really who I am. Or they might get all into the body and say, okay, this is who I am. But I've noticed over the years that this body, as fine as it is not the same body that it was 10, 20, 50 years ago. I also noticed that my emotions, so I know I'm not my body. I also know that my emotions can change, but depending on the movie I'm watching, or whether I've had too much coffee, or whether I have had too much sugar, or I haven't eaten enough, I could be a real Betty White. So anyway, I know I'm not my emotions. So, I must be my thoughts. Well, I know that I meditate, and at times I can be without a thought. I know that when I've had surgery, they've put me out, and I was nowhere, but I was still there. I was not my thought. So if I'm not my body, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my thought, who am I? Who would you be? Now, one of my best teachers was a guy by the name of David MacArthur. I met him when I was the pastor we used to be pastors back then, back over in Kennewick, Washington State, when I had the Tri-Cities First Church of Religious Science. David came over from Squim, where he lived, and he would come over and he would teach us sessions on the Bhagavad Gita. He'd bring various lessons of Eastern philosophy and Eastern teachings with him. He was the only librarian, Caucasian librarian, of Sri Chimayananda. And he would come over and he taught us something called the BMI, the Body, Mind, Intellect chart. And basically what he showed us was, we're not our bodies, we're not our minds, we're not our intellects, we are that which projects through all of that. You are that which gives light to all of that. Sit with that a moment. Tat tavam asi, that thou art. You are the I am that I am. So when you are thinking of regrets, that's a waste of time. Remember, anything you did in the past is an opportunity for you to have learned from the past. Learning from the past is good. Living in the past, bad. Beating up on yourself, bad. So when you're tended to go in these directions, and you know it's bad, stop it. You know, it's like Bob Newhart, the psychologist. You might have seen the skit one time. Anyway, I diverge. What we need to do is remember who we are. Ask yourself, who am I? And it'll bring you back to center, and that you know you are not all that stuff that's happening. You are the eternal present. You are the eternal now. You are the eternal I am that I am. You really are that. That's awesome. Now, each of us has a reason for being here. What is it, you suppose? It's not just to get more things in our storage unit. It's not just to make more money. It's just not to climb up the corporate ladder and then find out for many of us it's leaning up against the wrong building. And it's not just to save up until we retire so we can not have to work before we die. There are some things that we are called forth for to do. And that's to show Spirit a good time. We are here so that life may be better expressed, that love may be better expressed. Now, I got a question for you. What would that look like for you to express that greater love in your life? What would it look like to you to express that greater life? What's Spirit calling forth for you to do? There may be something in the back of your mind that you've been sitting on for a long time. You may have had an intention for some time that, oh, you know, when things are thus and such, maybe I'll do thus and such. I think it's time for us to put aside the someday I'll stuff and set a firm intention. And once we set that firm intention, we have to be willing to do something about it. You know, there's an old saying goes that if you have to do something you don't want to do it, if you have to do something you're really not looking forward to do, you know, you're starting your day and you know you have to call this person and you don't really want to call them, or you have to go take this medicine and you really don't want to take it, or you have to do something and you really don't want to do it, that it's sort of like eating a frog in the morning. You know, this would be something you really don't want to do, but the point of it is, if you eat a frog in the morning, the rest of your day is pretty good. So, if there's something life is calling forth for you to do, go ahead and eat that frog if it scares you. Go ahead and do what it is that life is calling forth for you to do if it expresses the greater idea of life and love and harms no one. That's important. Does it express the greater idea of life and love and harms no one? Now back to those frogs. There was 3 frogs sitting on a log. It was a nice warm day, much like today. A nice warm day, and they were sitting in this nice pool. And one of them got a little hot and decided to jump off into this pool. Now the question I have for you, if one of them decides to jump off the log, and there were 3 frogs, how many frogs are left? No, not 2, 3. Because just making a decision is not enough. You have to take action. Dr. Tom Johnson, a colleague of Dr. Maxine and mine, and one of the great teachers, said that and wrote a book called Action Does It. Now what that means is, when we've done our treatment work, when we've accepted what Spirit has us to do, and we've accepted it as so, we've set the intention, we're using up all the power in the universe to grab it together and universal mind to manifest this in our lives, we need to do what's in front of us to do. So the way I teach, there's not just 5 steps in treatment, there's 6. There's recognition, unification, realization, acceptance, thanksgiving, release, and then doing what it is in front of you to do. So ask yourself, what is it in front of me to do right now? Now, it may be to do nothing, and that's okay. It may be telling you just to wait, and that's okay. Because waiting sometimes can be a busy activity. So I want you to appreciate yourselves more. I want you to appreciate each other more. And if you find yourself stuck in a condition, let's say you hurt your back and it's not healing right away, I want you to go talk to somebody, maybe a physician or something, and get it taken care of. Would you do that for me? If you cut yourself real badly while you're cooking or something, and a Band-Aid's not going to do it, I really would want you to go to the hospital, the emergency room, and have it taken care of. Would you be willing to do that? Okay. If you're thinking negatively, in despondency, full of regret, heartache, and despair, and this has been going on day after day after day for at least 3 days, I ask you, get some help. Because there are mental, physical, emotional conditions that are just as real as cutting yourself or hurting your back. And you need to take care of them. Because we love you and we care for you and we want you to take care of yourself. And there's no reason for you to live in despair, in hurt, and suffer. Because you are awesome. We are all awesome. So accept that greater idea of life that you are. You are the I am that I am. Ask yourself, who am I? I am that I am. And allow that realization to lift you, to move you into a greater place than you've been before. Heaven here on earth, right in here and right now. And with that, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.